Hello, beautiful Earth Angels, Soul Tribe Collective. Welcome back to another reading, another message for you guys. That's just paint on my hand if you wondered, by the way. I've just been painting. So this reading, this message starts off with Spirit wanting me to lay out the basis of what this is going to be about, this reading. And the basis of what they are bringing the message across for is all about in the internal mind, the inner realm, the thought space inside, we go through trains of thought. And these trains of thought are like little loops, and they kind of close off and they overlap and they lead to one another. And essentially, they're basically saying, if we are laying it out to explain, there's one way to interpret the inner consciousness, which is the flower of life inside the mind. Each circle that builds that flower of life internally is a belief, a yin perspective, and they're all unique. And like the flower of life, all these circles join together, all these thought loops, and we think one thought, and that can often lead us round to another one. And when we're letting thoughts connect and lead round to other ones, we're essentially traveling deeper into the mind, deeper into that flower of life. So the flower of life, each circle is a belief, a yin, a perspective, and they're all connected, and we can all hold different beliefs and perspectives. Ultimately, we're holding and sitting in the same place in the flower of life inside the mind. And ultimately, we can get to different places through different routes. We can get to the same belief through different thought connections. We can get to the same perspectives through different kind of experiences, because our experiences shape our beliefs and they help to shape our beliefs and our perspectives. So ultimately, depending on what experiences you've had, depends on where you're going to sit inside in that flower of life, and what yin loops and what beliefs and perspectives you would have been holding or standing in. And we can go through those yin beliefs and perspectives, and they can take us to other places. We can travel the mind or explore the mind and the inner quantum realm. So this inner flower of life is something that everybody has access to, and this is the shared collective thought space. But what's different is that even though we can stand in the same yin loop or belief as somebody else, it is uniquely ours how we travel that flower of life and that thought realm, because ultimately beliefs are not owned by us. We can meet people with the same beliefs, and that belief is ultimately a created energy of understanding or perspective. So even though we can hold the same belief as somebody else, it's unique to us how we travel through the mind. What connections lead us onto what other thoughts, the thought connections that you make, the way that you travel through that flower of life. Sometimes someone will get a perspective pop up or come in, and that's where they stay circling around in that one. Or you can get a perspective or thought come in, and you can kind of use that to expand on, to act as a start pathway to other connections that we can make. You are somebody who travels the thought space, the inner realms. You make lots of unique thought connections and pathways, because ultimately, and don't worry if any of this is a bit confusing or it doesn't really resonate, then don't worry. This is just an analogy for kind of explaining this energy. And if it doesn't resonate or you're not sure, then this reading is not for you, but you're welcome to stay and listen. It's really down to you. You always know what messages are for you, and you'll know if this is your reading, because you'll feel like I'm speaking to you, or you'll feel like I'm touching on points maybe you've already thought or traveled to before, or if it resonates. So we should never force anything to fit or resonate, and if it doesn't, then that's not anything bad or anything. It's just that certain readings are targeted to certain groups of different collectives, and so yeah, use your own discernment always. So within this flower of life within the mind, this is in the mind, the quantum realm, the non-localized realm where everything's sitting. There's no space, no time. This is the astral space, or I know to be the astral space is the quantum realm. And this is in the mind because our neural pathways are created by like signals, and those signals of light are plasma. Well, that plasma is just light wave particles, which is quantum particles. So within your mind is the access to the quantum realm, and each one of your neural pathways is a timeline, is a corridor of thought. You have opened many corridors of thought by traveling and making certain thought connections within yourself. And you've done this because you've taken time to let your mind wander, to let your mind think, to let one thought take you down a journey of thoughts. You allow your thoughts to expand. You allow your thoughts to take you on a journey. And this is you traveling in the astral space, and this is you traveling down different corridors and pathways inside of your mind, which is the quantum realm. Everyone has access to the everywhere on this flower of life, but not all of us has traveled everywhere on this flower of life. So we only have access to the thoughts, beliefs, and perspectives ultimately that we've thought about, experienced, or traveled to. You guys have traveled so much, you've opened so many pathways, and you have stood in many of the circles that make up that mental flower of life thought space. So each loop, each circle is that energetic type of space, that energy that it holds, the weight of belief that it carries. And yeah, you've made very unique mental connections. I just want to come in here to say as well, you guys, that because you have traveled through so many different places within the mind and thinking about different things, exploring different concepts within yourself, or whatever this is about, you are a gatekeeper, which means there's certain corridors of thought that only you and very few people have had access to. And this is the unique knowledge and perspective that you came here to share with the collective, because ultimately, to a level, all of us who are explorers of the mind have our own unique pathways and corridors that we gatekeep. And we gatekeep by not keeping them out, but bringing them to other people, bringing other people the gate to the start of certain thought pathways, corridors, perspectives, and beliefs. And the thing is that each one of these beliefs is no less true than the other. They all just reside in different vibrations, and you guys hold gateway keys to loops and beliefs that reside in high 5D and above vibrations, which means a lot of the loops that you have and beliefs you have are all encompassing, because 5D belief perspectives encompass the rest of the vibrations below them. 3D beliefs and perspectives that line the 3D, although they are no less true than any other belief, they are limited and they do not encompass as much as a higher perspective. A higher perspective is one out of love, understanding. Understanding is the main thing, because understanding dissolves separation. So you have beliefs that dissolve separation and bring love and understanding to others that you gatekeep, that you have access to, right? This is why you are important. This is why it's important what information you hold inside, because like I said, everyone gatekeeps certain pathways that are different to other people, and we're all here to fill in the gaps for each other, because that internal flower of life is something that we all have access to, but we've all explored it differently. So you have access to many neural pathways and timelines, because each neural pathway is a timeline too. So through your mind, you're accessing, traveling the astral, the quantum, the quantum realm, whatever you know that to be, the spirit space, your inner realm. And it's like, yeah, we all have access to each connection, but it's unique to you how you're traveling and how you're walking along that flower of life. Now, you're probably going to meet people who have walked in similar paths within the mind to you, and then there's going to be another type of people that you meet who have walked their very different ways. And really, ultimately, we all are uniquely weaving inside of ourselves the connections that we want to make within this flower of life, and everything connects to the middle. And it's like all these connections, all these concepts, all these beliefs, they all start to condense down into singular encompassing things such as light and dark, we'll say, you know, love and evil. So this balance of light and dark, the divine feminine, the divine masculine, these two energies. And then it's like, you guys have done so much traveling and so many thought connections that you're seeing the deeper energy pattern that's woven into each mental concept, belief, or journey. And you're seeing a lot of things, maybe how the mind works, what society is going through, or the kind of beliefs that are in society, or the journeys we go through. You're kind of made this thought connection to see the deeper weaving of energy that's going on, which is coming down to very singular things like this concept of light and dark, and how you can group many things into dark and many things into light, and how everything is just a interpretation of that in one way or another. Like yin and yang is light and dark, and I guess yin would be the dark and yang would be the light, and yang is the masculine energy, whereas yin is the feminine energy. Well, masculine energy is all about the material outside world, taking action, putting out and doing, whereas yin, the dark, the feminine energy, is all about the inner realms, emotions, and the non-seen. And so it's like within these two concepts, we start to branch off onto many correlated concepts that can fit into different things. Because now when we talk about a situation, we say, well, what's the light and dark in the situation? Where's the feminine energy? Where's the masculine? Where is the emotional energies in this situation? And where are the physical doing actions? You know, it's like all of these things come down to kind of link up together. And you guys have made many thought linking connections, and I feel like the message of this is on about how through traveling the mind and through weaving together energy inside yourself to make certain connections, because you have beliefs but they also connect together to trickle down to certain core beliefs or concepts. And I think one of those you've formed is about the light and dark, the feminine, the masculine. And I feel like since you've become aware about this and been along your journey, you have been able to use your awareness to discern and to point out and pick out the light and dark, or feminine and masculine aspects of yourself, how you think, how you speak to yourself, how you're showing up. I feel like you've got to, because of that awareness to what it is, you've got to know the feminine and masculine inside yourself, and you've also been able to see the places where you operate from and actually alchemize certain energies to become very balanced in both honoring your divine feminine and your divine masculine, because you honor yourself when your inner world and emotions are calling you to either rest, to be processed, heard, or felt. And you're honoring your divine feminine in a way where you are listening to and trusting your feelings, your intuition, and you are honoring your own emotions and using understanding and unconditional love to learn more about yourself. Whereas then when you're in the masculine, you've also learned to power each with each other. You've learned to power the dark with the light and the light with the dark. You empower your divine masculine with your divine feminine because of the nourishing and the love and the nurturing you give yourself. Ultimately builds a better self-worth and self-love and belief system towards yourself that honors you in a way that makes you feel like you're capable of achieving so much because of the love you've given yourself. You believe in yourself, and ultimately that powers your masculine, because your masculine is the thing and the space inside of you which is taking action, which is moving forward, is setting goals. And so you see all of these places where you're moving forward, progressing in, setting goals in, manifestations in, where you're setting boundaries and you are, you know, making plans that are coming from the space of also the divine feminine. Because if our divine feminine is wounded, our divine masculine is going to be trajecting and making progress in spaces that are not aligned with our fully deep, the place of full, deep, unconditional love. And we can start to move from the unhealed masculine, which is putting pressure on ourselves to move in certain directions, using the outside as a judge to how much progress we've made, and ultimately wanting to be somewhere quick, rushing and shaming ourselves into action. So this is how you've used both energies to balance each other out so that you can work and operate from both. It's like now you can work and operate from a healed feminine and masculine, where your motivation and progression and passion is inspired by the energy that you've built up inside of self-love and empowerment. So that's how you're fueling your masculine with your healed feminine in a healthy and way that's beneficial for your soul. And because you guys are on a journey up to your home timeline of the frequency that you wish to build in. You've been shifting through timelines for quite a while. You've been going up and up, leaving things behind, or, you know, rebirthing, going through inner journeys to then kind of shift again and making new realizations. And all these times you've been kind of going through these mini journeys, growing, letting go, alchemizing. You have been moving up timelines, and you're getting to the timeline that is home frequency to your soul, because we have to move through these timelines one by one, up the frequencies. We can't just suddenly jump up to like a really high vibrational timeline from a low. We build our way up there. And so you're getting to this point because of the inner work you've done to balance these two energies, where you're going to start building in your home frequency timeline, which is one of abundance, which is one of abundance of unconditional it's one of abundance of light and dark, feminine and masculine energy. So that's emotional abundance, but that's also material, you know, that's spiritual, that's loving, and the energy of feeling seen, loved, supported, but also the energy of independence, seen, loving and supporting yourself and creating something for yourself. And yeah, you're creating a very beautiful foundation, and you're exactly where you need to be. So we're going to pull you a card to end off this channel message reading for you guys. You're also, I know I said about how you've been using your feminine to power your masculine. You also use your masculine to empower your feminine. You use the yang, the light, to empower the darkness too, because, you know, you see the value within the journeys of the darkness, and you see the value of taking the masculine yang energy into your yin, which creates progression through your internal world. Yeah, so we have the bottom deck energy here, experimenter, I think that's said on the back, and then we'll pull one more. Oh wow, that's very striking, isn't she? She's very striking. She's all like a weird energy of light and dark and kind of death and rebirth. And that, again, that balance, okay, the contrast of balance, light and dark, the divine feminine, the masculine, the death, the rebirth, the beauty, the death, you know, that kind of energy. So that's very interesting. And she is holding a seer. Is that a seer, or is that you reap what you sow? I don't know. You reap what you sow. Anyway, yeah, and then we have him here with the bow and arrow as well, kind of pointing towards the sun, pointing towards the right, which is the future. And there we go again, condensing down the two energies, left and right. Well, the left would be left brain, the feminine, the light, the dark, you know, the past, whereas the yang would be the future and all of that. So here we've got the light and dark again falling into the past and future, and you're pointing and facing the future. And in this, whereas she is facing the future, getting ready for the future, but also looking to the left, which is the past. And that is the beauty about the divine feminine, the internal realm, the darkness, is that in the divine feminine is where we heal a lot of the past, and we process a lot of the past, and we accept ourselves to the past. Whereas the divine masculine, the yang, is all about us internally looking to the future, focusing on the future, and seeing the brightness in what lies ahead. So we have the experimenter here. Affirmation: I'm strong and secure enough to experiment as I see fit. And then we have the worker here. I enjoy getting in touch with who I am as an individual. Yeah, both of those things are very, I think, resonant to you guys. If you resonate with this reading so far, because you guys are strong and secure enough in yourself to take leaps of faith, to take detours, to try different things, to experiment with maybe your identity or who you feel you are as an individual, with your passions, with your path. You have the security built up in both sides to really be fluid with where you want to flow to, you know. You have security built up in both, that you have the freedom to feel safe exploring. So that's really beautiful. And this can be in a work, a passion way, or this can be in an individualistic way, an identity way. You're free to experiment, you know. So I love you all so much, and I will speak to you in the next reading. Mwah.